Good evening, everyone. This is Dana from NexGen, and I hope everyone is having a fantastic holiday season. Everybody's enjoying their Christmas, getting ready for the new year. Today, I would like to talk to you about starting retirement. Now, in our series, we talk about retiring at any age. So today, I'm going to talk about the different types of retirement, because retirement means different things to different people, as we said before. So let's go ahead and start with the first type of retirement, and that is the full traditional type of retirement. And usually that means that the person stops working and leaves the workforce. And when we're talking about leaving the workforce, we're talking about leaving the active pay. So we have the active, which is the active income, which is your W-2 or 1099, or we're talking about the inactive. And we do have different videos that talks about the different inactive income that you can get. But for the traditional retirement, we're talking about permanently stopping the active work and leaving the workforce. Now, usually we see this around people that are 65 to 67. But again, we can do this at any age, and the income is usually derived from Social Security for those that are of age. They may have a pension, they may have a 401k, IRA, or thrift savings plan. Now, those are you would start getting those types of income based on your age. So with this type of retirement, there is no expectation to return back to paid work. Now, that's whether it's W-2 or 1099. Then we have the early retirement, and that is retiring before the traditional age of 65 to 67. So again, we're talking about not receiving Social Security yet. There may be considerations with healthcare costs, and this is before Medicaid kicks in. And these are the people that usually go into the financially independent, retire early. So these are the types of person that what they call FIRE. So you might have what they call lean FIRE, which is the frugal lifestyle. Fat FIRE, now that's funny, that's where you're spending a higher amount. And then we have what they call coast FIRE, which is you stop saving early and then you let your investments grow. So we have the full retirement, which is the normal 65 to 67. Then we have the early retirement, which is usually before the age of 62. And then we have what we call the partial or the phased retirement. So that's where you're reducing your hours of work instead of stopping altogether. Now, this is what some people usually do when they want to go into doing consulting work. So they're still actively working, but they're working fewer hours, whether they're doing consulting work, whether they're doing job sharing, whether they're doing any type of seasonal work. And this is usually, we see this when they're going into the transition for full retirement. Then we have the semi-retired, and that's stopping working full-time hours, but continue earning income by choice. And that's where you have the small businesses, you have the freelancing, this is where you see where people are using what they call their passion projects to generate income, and it's purpose-driven and it's very flexible. So you have your full retirement, early retirement, partial or phased. Then you have semi-retired, and we have what they call deferred retirement. And that is where you work past your normal retirement age. And usually people do this because they want to increase their Social Security benefits. So if you go into the Social Security Administration, and that's for those of you that would get Social Security, you notice that the longer you work, the more you would get in Social Security. So let's say you decide that you're looking at 62. So for the baby boomers particularly, they may get a reduced amount at 62, 65, 67, or even 70. And usually they max out at 70. So that's what we call a deferred retirement. And also another reason why people would defer it is if they want to maintain the employer's health insurance, because that's usually a big thing when people get older. And these are for people that enjoy work and leadership roles. And as I said, the Social Security usually maxes out at 70. So now we have the disability retirement, and that's usually due to an illness or an injury. Now this can be permanent or temporary, and usually you're going to get what they call Social Security disability insurance or an employer disability pension. And this usually requires medical documentation. So that's for people, they may retire, but they may retire with a disability, whether it be for an illness or an injury, whether it be temporary or permanent. Then we have the involuntary retirement, and this is for retirement that is beyond your control. And usually you'll see this when we have layoffs. There's a company closure, there's some health limitations, or there are some caregiver responsibilities. So these are things that would happen outside of a person's control. So that is what we call the involuntary retirement. And then the ones that I'm familiar with are the military or the government retirement. And those are special retirement systems that you would see what we call defined benefits. So you have the defined benefits that you would get a pension. Usually for the military, it's often after 20 years of service. And then there's the federal, state, and local government pensions. And they also include healthcare and survivor benefits. And I've talked about that in previous videos, so definitely make sure you take a look at that. Then we have a career change type of retirement. And that's where you would leave a long-term career and start a new one. So basically a transition, if you will. So usually people do that when they're looking at nonprofit work, if they want to do some type of teaching, consulting, civic or community service. So let's say that you were doing one thing and you decide you want to move into the nonprofit realm and do a career change. That is another type of retirement. Then we have the lifestyle or what we call the nomadic retirement. And that focuses on experiences rather than location. So those are the folks that are living in RVs, people that are living in different countries, international living, or we have the seasonal relocation, what we refer to as the snowbirds. And those are the people that leave from the colder areas and then when it's winter, and then they go to the warmer climates. So you have those type of retirements. And then last, we have what we call the forced or the medical retirement. And this is different from the disability retirement because sometimes this is employer initiated, and this is due to the inability to perform the job that you have. Even without qualifying for the disability benefits. So you have the one where you have disability where you actually initiate it, or we have the forced or medical retirement that is initiated by the employer. So these are the different types of retirements that I've come across. From some of them I've even participated in, and some of them my friends have participated in. So again, these are the different types of retirements. And of course, you can retire at any age, preferably on your terms and for something positive. And you've also looked at the other steps to make sure that you have your wellness dimension aligned and balanced. So hopefully this information was beneficial to you. If you have any other types of retirements that you can think of, definitely put it in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2026. So have a great evening, and I will talk to you soon. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Take care.